Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the official YouTube channel of Officer Study 24/7. So first of all, let me know how are you all. Also, let me know as audio video both are okay. Are we good to go? So as you know, we are on module B, and every day we are discussing one particular unit from your module B. So today, this is the class in which the module B topic-wise study will be completed. It means each and every topic of your module B we are going to complete today, and after today we will be starting the advanced questions practice. It means tomorrow we will be having the advanced question practice. So as you know, in module B we have only 8 units. Okay, how many units are there? Only 8 units are there, from unit number 12 to 90. These are the units in module B. Okay, and we have completed till 18, and today we are going to talk about the unit number 19, that is the union budget. Okay, so today we are going to talk about union budget. So let's start the session. But before starting the session, if you want to join these kind of session on regular basis, you have to join the session on Officers at 24/7 in the evening at 7 p.m. for IFS, and the same session for PPB. It means the Achiever series for PPB is going on in the morning at 6 a.m. If you want to join any of these session, you can check the Officers at 24/7 YouTube channel. Okay, apart from that, as I've told you, today we will be completing the module A unit wise discussion. So tomorrow, it means on Saturday, we will be having your detailed advanced questions practice from unit number 12 to 19. So I would request to all of you, if you haven't seen the individual unit sessions of module B, then do make sure you check them all, because tomorrow we will be having the advanced question, and if you once have covered all the units individually, you will be able to answer the advanced questions here. Okay, so do make sure you check that out, or you check the sessions on YouTube. Playlist is available. Whatever sessions we have done on module B, even on module A, that all is available on your Officers at 24/7 YouTube channel. Okay, so do make sure you check that out. So let's start. So when we talk about the union budget, what actually is union budget? Union budget simply is the budget of the country, as we have discussed the fiscal policy. Fiscal policy formulated by Ministry of Finance, the Government of India, for once in a year. And the fiscal policy is represented every year in form of the budget on the 1st of February. So now when we talk about the union budget, it's simply the announcement of the allocations every year that government does on 1st of February by Finance Minister. It will be defined, or it will be announced in the budget speech. That's what the union budget is. Like how much allocation have been done to which scheme, which sector, and what's the total revenue target, what's the total expenditure target. All this will be defined under the union budget. So when we talk about union budget, in this chapter, in the unit number 19, you have the description about what funding government have allocated in the different sectors. Okay, that's your union budget is. Now, apart from that, if I talk about here, like there are certain basic terminologies that we have to learn before we study the current budget, because it's very obvious, until and unless you know the terminologies, you won't be able to understand like where the funds have been given. Like if you find out that the revenue deficit is this %, fiscal deficit is this %, or revenue receipts are this %, and capital expenditure is this %, so you won't be able to relate it. You just have to mug up the concept because you do not know the term. So it's better you learn the term and then go with the budget allocation. Okay, so this is what you're talking about. Budget is simply defined under the article number 112 of your constitution, where the budget word have not been used. It have been known as your annual financial statement. Now when we talk about annual financial statement, it is simply the statement of upcoming year's revenue and expenditure. It means whenever the government is representing budget, the government always gives us the estimated budget. Government estimates every year on 1st of February, like how much money we will earn and how much money we have to spend for the development of the country. So every year, whatever budget government is representing, that's your estimated budget. That's the estimated budget. Okay, so let's start. The union budget, module B, unit number 19. So in the form of question, we will cover the other terms here. So first you have net fiscal deficit. So when we talk about deficit, deficit means simply loss. What is the meaning of deficit? Deficit simply means your loss. Okay. Now what is net fiscal deficit? So deficit are of 5 types. We have revenue deficit, we have effective revenue deficit, we have your fiscal deficit, budgetary deficit, and the primary deficit. So these are the 5 types of deficits we have. Deficit means always a loss, and when this happens, when the expenditure is more than revenue, that is known as your deficit. When the expenditure is more than revenue, that's known as your deficit. Deficit simply means no loss. Now net fiscal deficit, net means remained value it is asking for. Net value means remained, like how much remained deficit have been there. So first is saying gross fiscal deficit and net interest payments difference. Second is saying gross fiscal deficit and net interest payment difference. Third is saying gross fiscal deficit and net lending. And fourth is saying none of the above. So you have to answer here like which of the following is correct difference about the fiscal deficit, or that gives you the net fiscal deficit. So when we talk about the net fiscal deficit, it is the difference between how much actually deficit happened and how much you have done the lending. It means right answer is C. The gross fiscal deficit and net lending difference will be your difference between the two. Okay, so now if you ask about what is the gross fiscal deficit, it will be what? The net fiscal deficit plus the net lending. This will be your gross fiscal deficit. So fiscal deficit is actually when the budget of government of India have went to the loss and the government have to borrow the money to survive in the economy. That's known as actually your fiscal deficit. So here the borrowing from RBI, borrowing from country, it means home, and borrowing from abroad, that will be combined under the fiscal deficit, and this will done by government of India when the actual budget of government went to the loss. Okay, this have to be done, and this is what the fiscal deficit is. And if you want to calculate the net fiscal deficit, you have to subtract the net lending from gross fiscal deficit, and if you want to calculate the gross fiscal deficit, we have to add the net lending. Okay, so the right answer will be C option. The right answer we have is C. Now second question. Second question is talking about which of the following is the definition of budget deficit. You can also call it a budgetary deficit. You can call it budget deficit or budgetary deficit. Both are same. So what actually the budgetary deficit is? Deficit means loss. Budgetary deficit means is the overall budget of the government have went to the loss. That's the budgetary deficit. And when it happens when the total expenditure is more than total revenue. So the first is saying excess of total expenditure over the total receipts minus interest payment. No, you do not have to minus anything. Just total expenditure is more than total revenue. That's sufficient. Second is saying excess of total expenditure over total receipts minus borrowing. It cannot be true. Excess of revenue expenditure, not revenue, the total expenditure, it is not true. So right answer is D. Excess of total expenditure over the total receipts is your budgetary deficit. So budgetary deficit is the simplest deficit to understand. It means the overall budget of government went to the loss. And when it happens, then the overall expenditure is more than the revenue. That is known as your budgetary deficit. Okay. So right answer will be your D. The right answer here will be D. Next question. Revenue deficit is calculated as dash. The revenue deficit is calculated as dash. First is saying total expenditure minus total receipt. Revenue, acha, you are talking about revenue deficit. Now what is revenue deficit? First of all, do remember budget have two components. The first component is revenue budget. Second component is capital budget. Revenue budget means when the revenue budget means day-to-day budget. It means when the government is doing daily income and daily expenditure, that's the revenue budget. And the revenue budget covers revenue receipts and revenue expenditure. Revenue receipts means day-to-day income of the government. Revenue expenditure means day-to-day expenditure of government. Now when it comes to the capital budget also includes the capital receipts and capital expenditure. Capital receipts means the day-to-day income of government. Capital receipts means the long-term income of government, and capital expenditure means your long-term expenses of government. So it means revenue budget means your short-term budget, day-to-day budget, income and expenditure you're calculating which government is having on daily basis. And capital budget is a long-term budget. It means the expenditure or income you are calculating for a long period of time. So when it comes to the revenue deficit, it's when your revenue budget went to the loss. When your revenue budget faces the loss, that is known as your revenue deficit. Okay, and it will happen when the day-to-day expenditure is more than day-to-day income. So right answer will be your B, revenue expenditure. Acha, not B. Revenue expenditure more than revenue receipts, it means C. Revenue expenditure is more than revenue receipts. So right answer will be C. Okay. Next question. Next is talking about fiscal deficit refers to. Now fiscal deficit, I have told you, once the budget of Government of India went to the loss, whatever money the government is borrowing, government is taking, that comes under the fiscal deficit. Okay. So when to calculate fiscal deficit, you have to exclude that borrowing if you are calculating in the form of total expenditure and revenue. Okay, so there are multiple ways to calculate the fiscal deficit. Out of this, which of the following is correct? Difference between government's total expenditure and total revenue receipts including borrowing? No. The difference between the total expenditure of government and total receipts of government excluding borrowing, this is true. So whatever the difference is there between the government's total expenditure and total receipts, that will be calculated as a fiscal deficit. Or you can also call it fiscal deficit is equals to only, you can write the borrowings from home plus our borrowing from RBI or borrowing from abroad. All these are the fiscal deficit. All these are what? All these are the fiscal deficit. So fiscal deficit simply means what? It means the overall funding government had after the budget went to the loss. So right answer will be here B option. The right answer will be here B option. Okay, next question. Next question we have about pick odd one out, like the option which do not belong to the group with the other three, that you have to pick. So first is saying custom duty, second is saying service tax, third is saying interest receipt, fourth is saying income tax. So you can say custom duty, service tax, income tax. These three are the tax revenue. These three are what? These three are the tax revenue. When you talk about the custom duty, service tax or your income tax, that's what? That's your tax revenue. When it comes to the interest receipts, this is the non-tax revenue. Non-tax revenue means the earning of government which is not a tax earning. That is known as non-tax revenue. So right answer will be your C. Okay, right answer will be C. So the day-to-day income of government will be calculated from the tax revenue and non-tax revenue. When it comes to the tax revenue, all the earning that government is doing from the taxes, like income, direct tax or indirect tax, any kind of taxes there, that's the tax revenue. Non-tax revenue simply means the government is earning money, but not from the taxes, apart from taxes like fine, penalty, challan, interest, etc. Grants, all these are the non-tax revenue. So right answer is interest receipt, because the rest three are tax revenue, but the C is your non-tax revenue. Next, net tax revenue equals to dash. Now what is the net tax revenue is? Okay, so the tax revenue, I have told you, tax revenue means all the earning that government is doing from the taxes, that's the tax revenue. Okay, and when it comes to the net tax revenue, it means whatever tax revenue government earned, and whatever income government had from the taxes, what is remained with the government, that's what the net tax revenue we are talking about. Okay, so first is saying here, simply gross tax revenue. Okay, the gross tax revenue minus national calamity contingent duty transfer to NCCF and state share, and this is the true. Whatever gross income government had, And out of that, the money that we have to pay for the calamities, like national calamity, something happened, that's a contingent duty. Like it's not pre-decided, something national calamity have happened, and because of that you have to give the money. And after that you have to also give share to the state government, because there are federal taxes, state taxes there is. So whatever tax collection government is doing, out of that government have to pay to the state governments, right, their part. So the right answer will be your A option, that's your next net tax revenue, the remained earning with the government after paying all the liabilities, that's known as your net tax revenue. Right answer is A. Next question. Next we have the total receipts in the central government budget equals to dash. The total receipts in the central government budget equals to dash. It means what? It means revenue receipts plus capital receipts plus fiscal deficit. So you are asking about total receipt. It means total earning of the government. We are calculating. So as we have discussed that the budget have two components. So the revenue and capital receipts will be there. So revenue receipt, capital receipt will be there. But deficit, it's not the earning. Deficit is the loss, it's not the earning. Next, revenue receipts, capital receipts is correct, and the drop down of cash balance is also correct. So right answer is B. Let's see what is third and D, C and D is saying. Revenue receipts, capital receipts, again deficit. Deficit is not a part of the receipts, it's not a part of the income of government. Revenue receipts, capital receipts, revenue and fiscal deficit, no. So right answer will be your B. The revenue receipts, day-to-day earning, the capital receipts, long-term earning, plus whatever cash balance drawdown have been done by the government, that is known as government's total receipts. So right answer will be B. Clear? Next question. Next we have pick odd one out again. So loans to public enterprise, pension subsidies. So pension subsidies are the part of expenditure of government of India, because the pension and subsidies have to be paid by the government to the beneficiaries, है ना? The government have to make this payment to the beneficiary. So that's the liability for the government. Loans to public enterprises. When government is giving loan to public enterprises, that's the asset for the government. So right answer is A. It is the odd one out. Okay, right answer will be your A because it's the odd one out. Okay, next question. If we deduct grants to a state for the creation of capital assets from revenue deficit, we arrive at dash. So what we are doing, we are deducting the grants. Grants means the money that you have got in form of financial help, okay, to the states have been given. If you deduct that grants from the revenue deficit, what will you get? So when we talk about revenue deficit means what? The day-to-day income went to the loss of the government. Out of that, you have to subtract the grants that have been received for the creation of capital asset. It can be received from the central government, from the international organization, whatever institution can give this grants to you. It can be a national institution, international institution, or the central government. They are giving grants to you, they are giving financial help to you. So when you subtract this grants from this revenue deficit, you will get what? You will get the effective revenue deficit. You will get the effective revenue deficit. So the right answer will be your D. Okay, the right answer will be your D option. Effective revenue deficit. So effective revenue deficit actually tells us about like how much actual loss the government have faced. Okay, because government also got the grants, no? Next question. Next we are talking about which of the following is true. True about the annual budget prepared by Government of India. So budget is always annual. We have seen the fiscal deficit review will come only once in a year, because the budget will be prepared for one financial year, 1st April to 31st of March. And whenever the government represents the budget in the parliament, like on 1st of February, it will always be what? It will always be your estimated budget. Government will always be giving us the idea what government have estimated, and when the years end and the next year's financial budget you represents in the parliament, then government tells like whatever we expected in the starting of the financial year and what actually happened. Okay, then it will be told by the government. Now, so first is saying it is a part of money savings policy, the part of fiscal policy, the part of monetary policy, the part of commercial policy. So I guess this is the simplest question. It's obviously a fiscal policy of the government. The budget is what? It is the fiscal policy of government. So the right answer will be B. Okay, your right answer will be what option? That is B option. Next. Okay, so these are the questions about your union budget. And apart from that, first of all, you let me know how many answers you have given correct here in this particular session. You have to answer that. And apart from that, if you are looking for a dedicated batch for your JAIIB preparation May 2024, then this is the Achievers batch, and one resolution batch is going to be started from 10th of January. So I will be starting from 10th of January, the principles and practices of banking in the resolution batch. So what is resolution batch? I will show you here. First of all, to enroll any dedicated batch, you have to download the Adda 24/7 application. After downloading the application, just go to the Adda 24/7 applications home page. This is the home page. You have to select the exam category, that is JAIIB CIB. Then go to the JAIIB May 2024. These are the batches available in front of you, and you can see this is the resolution batch. Mahapack is also there. Individual subject batches are also there as per your language convenience. Okay, so how to enroll? Just click on the batch. Do read all the offerings of the batch, like what the batch is offering you, then the validity, and you can scroll down and check here like what the product is including. Now what you can do, this package includes what it is including, you can check that. And as well as you can check the study plan, because we are starting PPB from 10th of January. So the study plan is available. 8 to 9 p.m. we will have our classes. The first class will be on 10th of January, and then we will have the proper study plan. We have the proper study plan to cover the PPB subject. You can see, it's the biggest subject. That's why you can see one topic have 2 to 3 classes, because you can see AML KYC guideline. This is your second unit of module A. It required 3 days at least to clear your proper topic. So the subject is very vast. Okay. So this is how you can check all the details. Then click on the buy now option, and if you use this code, you will get 75% discount. So for maximum discount, what you have to do, just use the code, that is Y496. Click on the apply. When you apply, you will get here 77% discount, but for 1% additional discount, you will get the coins here. Okay, and you will get 78% discount here with the 6 months validity starting from your 10th of January. So PPB I am starting because it has a biggest syllabus, and it will be taking much more time to cover your syllabus, so that also you need more time to revise. That's why I'm starting with the PPB. From 10th of January, 8 to 9 p.m. we are starting the class. So this is how you can enroll. Apart from that, if you want to go with the Mahapack or any other batch, the same process have to be used. Okay, and the next thing is, if you want to join regular YouTube sessions, for that you have to subscribe the channel Officers Adda 24/7 and press the bell icon, so that all the upcoming sessions notification will be given to you properly. Okay, and if you have any kind of doubt, you can ask in the comment section always. Okay, or you can ask on the Telegram channel. You also know you are also linked to the Telegram channel. Okay, so but yes, do make sure you clear your doubt, because the paper is going to be very conceptual based. So if you do not clear your doubt, somehow this doubt will end in a confusion and you won't be able to answer 1 or 2 questions. So always make sure you clear your doubt. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you all for joining the session. Take care everyone. See you tomorrow in the morning at 6 a.m. for PPB session, and do not forget to join these sessions regularly at 7 p.m. for IE IFS, at 6 a.m. for PPB. Okay, thank you everyone. Take care. Have a good time.